What if I told you that $18.9 million vanished into thin air right under the noses of a highly secure vault? Picture this, a seemingly ordinary day in September of 1997. A location renowned for its tight security, where even a penny misplaced would raise alarms. And then, in the blink of an eye, millions disappear. This isn't a plot from a Hollywood thriller, folks. This is real life, a tale that is as intriguing as it is mind-boggling. It was a day when the unthinkable happened. A day that would go down in history as the stage of the most audacious heist ever. We're talking about an amount that's hard to even visualize. $18.9 million, all gone in a matter of hours. And the best part? It happened right here, on American soil. Well, believe it or not, it did happen. Welcome to the story of the biggest heist in American history. Our story takes us back to September 12th, 1997, in a small town in North Carolina, a place where the air is fresh, the people are friendly, and life moves at a slower pace. Nestled within this seemingly peaceful town was the United Loomis Fargo Vault, a fortress of money that held millions upon millions of dollars. The vault was a marvel of modern security. It was a monolith of concrete and steel, bristling with state-of-the-art surveillance cameras and guarded by a legion of well-trained security personnel. It was said that breaking into the vault was akin to breaking into Fort Knox. It was the epitome of security, a symbol of impenetrability. Now let's introduce some of the key characters in our tale. First, we have David Gant, a vault supervisor with a seemingly mundane life. Then there's Kelly Campbell, a former Loomis Fargo employee with an infectious charisma. Next up, we have Steve Chambers, an ambitious man with a relentless drive for wealth. And lastly, we have Michelle Chambers, a woman with an eye for the finer things in life. These four individuals, each with their own lives, dreams, and aspirations, were unknowingly about to be entwined in a plot that would forever change their destinies. They were completely unremarkable in their day-to-day lives, ordinary people living in an ordinary town, yet they were anything but ordinary. There was something brewing beneath the surface, a secret plan that was about to be set in motion. The United Loomis Fargo Vault, a bastion of security, stood tall and mighty in the heart of North Carolina. It was a testament to man's ingenuity and the desire for safety and protection. But as we all know, where there's a will, there's a way, and for some, the allure of the vault was too great to resist. Little did anyone know, this secure vault was about to become the scene of a daring operation. Behind every grand heist, there's a grand plan, and this was no exception. It was a game of chess, every move calculated, every decision weighed, as the orchestrators of this audacious plot prepared for the biggest heist in American history. The plan was as complex as it was daring. It was a dance of precision and timing, choreographed to the second. The main characters, each a mastermind in their own right, studied the vault's security system with the precision of surgeons. They examined every detail, every loophole, every potential weak point, and they found them. They knew that even the most formidable fortress has its Achilles heel, and they were determined to find it. The vault was a labyrinth of lasers, cameras, and motion detectors, a formidable fortress designed to keep the most cunning of thieves at bay. But our characters were not deterred. They knew that knowledge was their greatest weapon. So they studied, they planned, and they practiced. They turned the blueprint of the vault into their playground, familiarizing themselves with every nook and cranny, every potential pitfall and obstacle. But the plan went beyond just understanding the security system. They needed to know the routines, the timings. They had to know when the guards changed shifts, when the cameras swiveled, when the vault was at its most vulnerable. Every moment counted. A second too early or a second too late could mean the difference between success and failure. So they watched, they waited, and they learned. And then they planned some more. They rehearsed their steps, going over the plan again and again until it was as familiar as the back of their hands. Every potential scenario was considered. Every contingency planned for. There was no room for error, no margin for uncertainty. They knew that in this game the stakes were high, and the risks even higher. With the plan set, the stage was ready for the heist. The curtain was about to rise on a performance that would go down in the annals of history. Little did they know their actions would echo through time, becoming the stuff of legend. On the night of September 12th, the plan was set into motion. The air was thick with tension, the city lights glowed in the distance, and the stillness of the night was about to be disrupted. This was not any ordinary night. This was the night when the biggest heist in American history was about to unfold. The perpetrators, a group of individuals who had meticulously planned this operation, were ready. They had studied the patterns, installed insiders, and understood the vulnerabilities of the security system. They knew the stakes were high, and so was their ambition. Armed with their cunning, they were about to make a move that would forever etch their names in the annals of crime history. They started their operation with the precision of a surgeon. Every move was measured, every step calculated. They slipped past the first line of defense, the external security, like shadows in the night. Unseen, unheard, they moved with an eerie silence that belied the enormity of their impending crime. Next came the daunting task of bypassing the internal security. But they had planned for this. Using inside information, they maneuvered their way around the intricate web of lasers and alarms. Like dancers on a stage, they moved with a choreographed precision, avoiding detection with an uncanny skill. Once inside the vault, they faced the biggest challenge yet: loading the money. Millions of dollars in neat stacks of green bills lay before them. The sight could have been overwhelming, but they had no time to marvel at their potential fortune. They quickly, yet carefully, loaded the money into specially designed bags. These were no ordinary bags. They were designed to be lightweight, easy to carry, and most importantly, to evade detection. With their bags loaded, they were now faced with the final hurdle: escape. They knew they had to move fast, yet not raise any suspicion. They retraced their steps, weaving their way back through the labyrinth of security systems. It was a nerve-wracking journey, a race against time, but they had planned well. They knew the routes, the blind spots, the safe zones. They moved swiftly, their hearts pounding in their chests, their minds focused on one thing: escape. And then they were out. They had done it. They had pulled off the biggest heist in American history. They had bypassed a state-of-the-art security system, loaded $18.9 million, and escaped without a trace. The silence of the night was once again restored. The city lights continued to glow, oblivious to the grand theft that had just occurred. Just like that, $18.9 million disappeared into the night. The audacity of the crime sent shockwaves through the nation. It was a night that would forever be remembered. A night when a group of individuals dared to challenge the system and emerged victorious. But little did they know, their victory was short-lived. The aftermath was about to unfold. The heist was successful, but the hardest part was yet to come. In the wee hours of September 13th, 1997, when the first rays of dawn began to peek through the cityscape, the magnitude of the audacious heist was uncovered. As the first employees filtered into the bank, the alarm bells rang not with their usual monotony, but with a chilling echo of a crime that had unfolded in the quiet of the night. The vault, which had once housed millions, now lay bare and hollow. A gaping hole in the floor bore witness to the audacious plot that had been executed with chilling precision. It was a scene straight out of a Hollywood heist movie, but this was all too real. The authorities were immediately summoned, their sirens slicing through the early morning calm. The initial shock gave way to a flurry of activity as the law enforcement agencies descended upon the crime scene. The FBI, the local police, and the bank's security team joined forces in an unparalleled show of solidarity to unravel the mystery that had unfolded within the bank's hallowed walls. The investigation was swift and relentless. Every inch of the bank was combed for clues. The shattered remnants of the vault's floor were pieced together, fingerprints were lifted, and surveillance tapes were scrutinized. The city was put on high alert, roadblocks were set up, and airports were monitored. The hunt was on, and it was intense. But while the authorities were making headway, the criminals were already celebrating their victory. For a while, it seemed like they had pulled off the perfect crime. They had the money, they had the means, and they had a plan. But as the saying goes, pride comes before a fall. In their haste to escape, they began to falter. Their meticulously crafted plan started to unravel at the seams. It started with small mistakes. A forgotten glove, a discarded tool, a trace of DNA. Then came the bigger blunders, a conspicuous purchase, a flashy car, a careless conversation overheard. The authorities, with their eagle-eyed vigilance, began to pick up on these slip-ups. Each misstep was a breadcrumb leading them closer to the perpetrators. The net was slowly but surely closing in. Just when the criminals thought they had gotten away with the biggest heist in American history, they found themselves caught in a web of their own making. Their grand escape plan had turned into a game of cat and mouse, with the law enforcement agencies hot on their trail. And so, as the city woke to a new day, the criminals found themselves on the run, their dreams of a perfect crime slowly turning into a nightmare. The heist was over, but their ordeal had just begun. As the net tightened, it was only a matter of time before justice would catch up. In the end, even the perfect crime has its loose ends. Now, let's dive into the culmination of this gripping saga, the capture. Despite the meticulous planning and execution of the heist, our culprits weren't as invincible as they had imagined. The net was closing in around them, and they were blissfully unaware. They had left behind a trail of breadcrumbs that, although faint, led law enforcement straight to their doorsteps. Their first mistake was spending. Yes, spending. They started splurging excessively, drawing attention to their newfound wealth. When you suddenly start buying luxury cars and designer clothes out of the blue, people tend to get curious. And curiosity, as they say, killed the cat, or, in this case, the robbers. The second blunder was a lack of discretion. They boasted about their exploits in hushed whispers at local bars, not realizing that walls have ears. Slowly but surely, word of their feat started spreading around town like wildfire. And it wasn't long before these whispers reached the ears of the very people they were trying to evade, the police. Now, let's talk about law enforcement's role. They were relentless. They pieced together every bit of information, followed every lead, no matter how insignificant it seemed. They worked tirelessly day in and day out to bring the culprits to justice. It was like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and they had all the pieces. They just had to put them together. The breakthrough came when an anonymous tip-off led them to one of the robbers. A quick search of his home revealed stacks of cash, the missing millions. One by one, all the robbers were rounded up, their dreams of a lavish life disappearing as swiftly as they had appeared. And so, the curtain fell on the biggest heist in American history. The players had played their parts, and the stage was now empty. The game was up. The $18.9 million heist had come to a thrilling end. The aftermath of the heist was as chaotic as the crime itself. As the dust settled, the wheels of justice began to turn. In the wake of the audacious theft, the law enforcement agencies were on high alert, leaving no stone unturned to bring the culprits to justice. The trials were a spectacle in themselves, attracting nationwide attention. Each member of the cunning crew was tried separately, their individual roles in the meticulously planned and executed heist scrutinized in detail. The courtroom was abuzz with tension, the air thick with anticipation. The defense put up a good fight, but the overwhelming evidence provided by the prosecution was hard to refute. One by one, the criminals were sentenced. The mastermind behind the operation received the harshest punishment, a life sentence with no possibility of parole. His accomplices too were handed down sentences proportionate to their involvement in the heist. In the meantime, efforts were underway to recover the stolen money. It was a daunting task, considering the vast amount that had been whisked away. However, through diligent investigation and relentless pursuit, a substantial portion of the stolen wealth was eventually recovered. The heist, while notorious, served as a wake-up call for the security industry. It highlighted the loopholes in existing systems and emphasized the need for more robust and foolproof measures. In response, security protocols were overhauled. Cutting-edge technology was deployed to enhance surveillance and detection capabilities. The incident served as a stark reminder that complacency could lead to catastrophic consequences. The reverberations of the heist were felt far and wide, prompting a re-evaluation of security measures not just in banks but in all institutions where large sums of money were handled. It was a costly lesson, but one that led to significant improvements in the security landscape. And so concludes the tale of the biggest heist in American history, a story of ambition, planning, and ultimate downfall. A tale that, while rooted in audacity and lawlessness, ultimately unfolded as a testament to the relentless pursuit of justice.